The next question regarding that is, does a patient use a magnifier with or without reading spectacles, prescription spectacles? What is the benefits? I know from my own experience, I have my own views on that, but from Schweizer's point of view, from your own point of view, Uwe, what do you think the benefits are for using this type of magnifier with reading glasses?
Well, it depends on the type of magnifier.
Okay.
And it depends on the patient's ability to accommodate. So what does that mean? I said it earlier, a magnifier creates a virtual image. And let's look at lower magnification powers. This virtual image, of course, depending on the power, but this lies, let's say, between 10 and 20 centimeters below the reading material. That is further away than the object I'm looking at. So if I want to see this image clearly, my eyes must accommodate to this longer distance, or if my eyes can't accommodate to that distance, my eyes must be corrected for that distance. So when I use a hand magnifier, it's not a big problem, because normally users, patients, will intuitively adjust the distance of the virtual image by changing the distance between the magnifier and the object viewed. And thus they are still able to continue using their current reading glasses. They just bring the whole thing in the right focus by playing with the distance of that handheld magnifier. Situation is different with a stand magnifier. I mean, the great advantage of a stand magnifier is that it is a fixed focus magnifier, which constantly maintains the magnifier to print or object distance. So one of the advantages is when you think of users who have tremor, for example, that is really a nice thing, that this is in the position where it should be to get a good image. But on one side, this is a great relief for the patient. They don't need to control the focal length. But if they have reading spectacles, and let us think of a person that is my age or older, so let's take somebody who is older. Let's think of a person who has an addition of maybe +3, +3.5 diopters already. And that is, of course, too strong for that virtual image, which is further away than my object.
Yeah.
Sorry. So this has to do with the ideal eye to virtual image distance, and has to do with the eye to lens distance. There is, just coming back to this Optical Academy platform once again, there is a nice little video on that platform also. Maybe you can also show the link to that one on this video. And just without going into too much details here, because it's very difficult just to explain it without a nice PowerPoint presentation. But just as a general rule, as a rule of the thumb, based on experience, of course, it can be said that patients need a pair of spectacles with an addition, well, certainly of not more than 2.5 diopters when they use a stand magnifier.
Okay.
In practice, you will find them something like 1.5 diopters as a good solution for them. Addition 1 to 1.5 with the stand magnifier. Why is it less than the 2.5? First of all, they tend to be a little bit further away than they should be in theory in order to have a more comfortable posture. and they might still have some remaining accommodation ability of their eye.
Okay, okay. So why, bless you, why should I get an illuminated magnifier over a non-illuminated one? If there's a more best practice, I know the answer to this one, but for the benefit of our viewers, what is the benefits of having an illuminated magnifier over a non-illuminated?
Well, when we get older, the ocular media become cloudy. They become increasingly cloudy due to the aging of the eye tissue, due to degenerative eye diseases, such as, let's name the age-related macular degeneration, for example.
Yeah.
So that means a 60-year-old man or woman requires 15 times more light for the same visual task, let's say for reading, than a 10-year-old boy or girl, in order to experience the same level of comfort and effectiveness. So that is already the explanation. That is why magnifiers with integrated lighting are mainly used nowadays.
Okay. Okay.
And a good illumination of the reading material improves contrast, and it improves reading speed. So that means the better the quality of the light used with the magnifier, with the magnifying lens, the less power of that magnifying lens is needed. And if I can use a magnifying lens of a lower power, I can use a bigger lens, and that means I have a bigger field of view.
Yeah, okay.
So that is why should magnifiers normally have an illumination.
Have built-in light, absolutely. And what determines the quality of the light based on these?
Many factors. Brightness is something obvious. But another thing that is also obvious is the spread of light. What is meant by spread of light? It's a difference whether I have, let's say, a little bright central spot, or whether I have illuminated, let's say, the full page of my book with the same brightness. So that's the spread of light and the color of the light. What does that mean? I mean, a white light, let's call it white. A white light is a mixture of different light colors. And depending on the color mix, we perceive this in different shades. So a white light that has a relatively high proportion of red, for example, appears warmer. A white light that has a high proportion of blue appears cooler.
Yeah.
So a cooler light is referred to a color temperature which is relatively high. The color temperature is measured in degree Kelvin, whereas a lower Kelvin value indicates that this light has, let's say, more portion of red and appears to be warmer.
Okay, okay. That's again, and something with the Kelvin side, which is available on your range of magnification. You are not just focused on one color temperature. So again, that's a good thing to have as an option anyway. And again, that leads on to which colors work better for particular eye conditions, such as what we've just discussed there, macular degeneration.
Okay, if we take macular condition, macular degeneration, for instance. People with that eye condition usually perceive light with a high blue portion to be brighter.
Okay.
High blue portion means a higher Kelvin value. And they perceive that brighter than the lower Kelvin values, and that means the light with more red parts in it. If you, on the other side, have, for example, a person with visual impairment caused by cloudy ocular media, cataract, for example, these people tend to choose the lower Kelvin values, the warm light temperatures. Okay. But at the end of the day, in order to find what is best for an individual, you have to try it out with that person, and they have to test it. And you will probably find that 80%, 90%, I don't know, of the patients will prefer what you were expecting them to prefer, but you will have the other 10 or 20% who will just feel more comfortable with the thing you didn't expect.
Yeah, exactly. Someone will think it's too bright or it's not bright enough. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Paul, just as we are talking about light, I know this is not the topic here today. We are more talking about the light in the magnifier. Yes. But obviously, light is very important.
Absolutely.
For a good vision. I mean, not only for people who have a real visual problem, but for everybody. I mean, in the dark you don't see, as simple as that. Yeah. We talked about the quality of light, and we talked about the light temperatures. So all that is not only important for the magnifiers, it's important, let's say, for any task lighting. So if you think of a floor lamp, a table lamp, whether this is a visually impaired person or even you and me, with the right light, we can improve the visual acuity. And of course, with the focus on the visually impaired community, Schweizer has also developed a range of lamps, a lamp series, which is called Multilight Pro. They are made in Germany.
Okay.
They are unique. Patients can choose between 7 different models, and all of them are also available in free light temperatures, and all of them also offer 2 brightness levels. Just to mention that light is not only, or good quality of light is not only a matter of a feature of a magnifier, but in general is an important factor.
Absolutely. And there's already a video on our YouTube channel, and I know there's videos on your websites, etc. as well, showing these, and I've done a comparison on one of the new lamps. So yeah, that video is available within our YouTube channel as well. So going back onto the magnification side, obviously you guys are never at rest. You're always developing new things, like the new lighting range, for instance. But I know a couple of years ago you got really ahead of the game and introduced induction charging systems for your very popular Ergolux MP range. So for the people who don't really know what induction charging is, wireless charging, etc., can you expand on what the Ergo range MP induction range does?
Sure. Well, when you look into the history of magnifier illumination, LEDs had not always been used, of course. LEDs had not always been available Many years ago, there were used incandescent bulbs, and there were used halogen bulbs and all that kind of stuff. But with the introduction of LED lighting for illuminated magnifiers, the complete products have changed, because that made it possible to use more or less only battery operated models because of the low energy consumption of the LEDs. And low energy consumption, battery operation, because of that, gives you, of course, the flexibility to use the magnifier, more or less anywhere when you think of a handheld magnifier.
Yeah.
But despite of that low energy consumption, sooner or later you have to change the batteries, and of course, depending on the usage hours. And now, let's say older people, which often has to do with other problems, not only, let's say, with eye problems, but with tremor, etc.
Yeah. Dexterity issues, absolutely.
People who suffer from things like that, for them it can be difficult to open and close a battery box and insert the batteries properly. I mean, we know, I mean, how small are these AAA batteries? And then you have to put in there, in the case of Schweizer, 3 pieces, one in this direction, the other one in that direction, the next one again in this direction. And you expect that from a person who A, doesn't see very well, who B, has shaky hands, can be a challenge. And the same is, I mean, even when you think of handling cables and plugs and small plugs, if you think of, oh, why don't I just put that on a USB charger like everybody is using nowadays from the smartphones, but then with the USB charger, what is about the orientation can be another issue. So that can be problems, and that's why Schweizer has developed this Ergolux I mobile magnifier series. I actually stands for inductive. You can also call it intelligent, whatever you want. And these magnifiers use wireless charging technology that eliminates the need to replace batteries. So to charge the magnifier, it has a built-in battery, of course.
Yes.
Like your cell phone has.
Yeah.
And charge the magnifier, you just place the handle of the magnifier on the charging pad. The charging pad is like the charging pad that people might know from inductive charging of mobile phones. You actually can use the charging pad of your mobile phone for the magnifier, as long as your mobile phone charging pad is according to the G standard. This is the same standard that Schweizer is using, and I think it's the most commonly used standard.
It's the standard,
and
you
put the handle on that charging pad, and it takes only a very short time to have the device to be ready for use again. I always give that example, and I think this is the real life. Somebody forgets to switch off the magnifier in the evening.
Yeah,
that happens.
Very common.
The next morning, the batteries are empty.
Yeah.
The light doesn't work any longer. Okay, now the first issue is, do I have replacement batteries at home? First question. Second issue, we talked about that before. maybe that person really, for that person, it really can be a challenge to replace those batteries.
Yeah.
Normally, let's say the daughter, the son, when they visit them, replace the batteries for them. But now it happened that last night, it was off, it was on the magnifier, batteries are drained out, no light, no batteries at home, or nobody to help them replacing them. And then the mail is coming in and they want to read that letter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, if you have this inductive charging magnifier, it's all not a problem, because when you put that handle on the charging pad and actually just for a few seconds, it gives you enough power, and that means light, for a few minutes to at least have a look at that mail that is coming in.
Yeah.
You don't need a full charge for that, right? So that's why I think it is a very, very helpful technology for a lot of people.
And absolutely, and of course, it's unique to your magnifiers, your Ergo Lux range. So yeah, I'll be honest with you, I've tried that myself. It's one of my one of the little showcase ones is that we have on purposely one completely flat magnifier, and we literally put it on the base, count to 10 seconds, and then hand it to the individual, and it's like, okay, what a difference. And yeah, as you say, it'll give you a few minutes worth at least. Obviously, depending on how long you leave it on the charging pad, but yeah, I love that feature. And so what other new technologies?
By the way, sorry to interrupt you, and by the way, they have 2 brightness levels.
Yes,
so when we say it gives you light for I don't know how many minutes, we are talking about the maximum brightness level, really, that it gives you that light. Yeah. So I think it's a great solution.
Absolutely, and again, also available in the 3 different color temperatures as well. So that one. So yeah. So what other new technologies have found their way into Schweizer's magnification production over the years?
Well, this Ergolux mobile hand magnifier series with the inductive charging or without the inductive charging, we also have it without the inductive charging, is one of our most popular hand magnifier series. And we have often been asked whether we also could provide a base that converts this hand magnifier into a stand magnifier. We talked about that before. Stand magnifiers are fixed focus magnifiers with a fixed object to lens distance. That means depending on the power of the magnifying lens, this distance varies. So you cannot just take, let's say, one stand or one base for all the powers of the hand magnifiers, but you have to have a different base height for every power. And from a manufacturer point of view, that is a challenging issue, because that would mean you have to make a mold for every stand, for every power.
Yeah.
And this, for example, is where 3D printing technology comes into play. Where with this relatively new technology, a manufacturer like Schweizer can respond quickly to market demands and can produce all the different heights, the many different heights which are needed, even in small batches. And you can say, okay, like a 12 diopter, volumes are bigger, but then you have like a 48 diopter, and you will not find that many people who really want to use a 48 diopter with a stand, but a few might find this to be a good solution, or it might help them. A a manufacturer would probably say, well, for a few, I don't invest a lot of money in an injection mold, but with 3D printing technology, we can do that, and we can even help those few people.
Yeah, I'm sure. And one of the things that I've learned about the 3D printing, unlike the injection molding, is once you've got the injection molding, which obviously does cost a lot of money anyway, that's it. That is how it's going to be formed. But with 3D printing, I suppose it's a modification within the software to change parameters to modify whatever you're doing. So it's not that expensive, certainly, than going out and getting a new molding system for a piece. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits with the 3D printing, and I know, again, from the stand's point of view, is it's a great idea. So yeah. So that really leads on to one of the last questions. Schweizer still own and run its own production for magnification?
Yes. We are still having our own magnifier production.
Okay.
I mean, well, I don't know personally, because I mentioned it before. The company is 180 years old, but when you look at the history book of the company, you can see that the company has always continued to expand production workshops, and we still do that. We just talked about 3D printing, which Schweizer does in-house. And all our lenses, all our plastic parts are injection molded in-house on our own equipment, with our own employed staff. And the molding, the assembly, all steps are performed in-house as well. So we make the parts, we do the assembly here. We have a Kanban production control system, I would call it.
Okay.
So that enables us to ensure that all parts are always available and are available just in time for delivery to our customers when they are needed.
Absolutely, and I can certainly vouch for that. That it is a system that works and works very well. So that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Well, I'd just like to thank you. I think the questions and the answers have been very detailed. So once again, Uwe, I'd just like to thank you very much for your time today. And yeah. Absolutely. We will, as always, we will put all the relevant information. So I will put the links to the Optic Academy within there, and also the links to for the lighting side of it. But yeah, thank you very much for your time today.
Well, Paul, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk a little bit about Schweizer and optical magnifiers and product solutions from Schweizer. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thanks. You take care, and bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.